Gnomes are common objects in lawns and gardens around the country. In certain parts of the globe, they're more than decorations. They're real, and they're evil. Figures popular in Renaissance folklore, gnomes are said to typically be underground creatures who wear tall hats. In Central and South America, gnomes are terrifying beasts who appear and disappear at will. They can either pull pranks or help wayward travelers. More people are reporting that these 2-foot-tall creatures are more sinister than they appear. I was about 7 or 8 years old. I was the last one awake at a sleepover. My friend was sleeping on a cot and I was on the floor underneath it. From where I was lying, I could see straight out the bedroom door into the bathroom down the hall, next to the master bedroom. Parents had left the bathroom light on for us kids. I was bored. This was long before cell phones existed, so I just stared into the lit bathroom. That's when I saw what I can only describe as a gnome. It was small, maybe a foot tall, wearing bright colored clothes, greens, reds. It was rummaging through everything in the bathroom. I literally watched this little thing knock over the trash can and dig through it, then open the cabinet under the sink and go through all of that. Then it hopped onto the toilet, onto the counter, opened the medicine cabinet, and started going through that too. While it was digging through the medicine cabinet, it must have noticed me watching. Its head just snapped toward me. I stared right into its eyes, frozen in terror. The next thing I remember is waking up my friend's parents asking who made a mess in the bathroom last night. Still one of the scariest things I remember, even 20 years later. This happened in Cox's Cove, Newfoundland, on the way to my grandfather's cabin, which was located in a little ghost town called Breaks Cove. I was with my grandfather, mother, and brother. We were in my grandfather's little boat going to my grandfather's cabin, which was only accessible by boat when the tide was high, and accessible by walking the saltwater shore when the tides were low. As we were floating along the saltwater, I caught a glimpse of a gnome-looking elf thing. It looked almost identical to the typical gnome. It stood on the rocky shore in a naturally man-made cave. Can't remember what exactly he was wearing. It seemed like a red checkered jacket and a pointy hat. He just looked curious and stared at us as we went along the water. All I could do was stare. I couldn't get my eyes off of him. Something about it was just so confusing. I really couldn't comprehend what I was looking at. I didn't say anything to my mother and grandfather until we passed. When I finally brought it up, they just laughed and made me feel stupid for even bringing it up. So I just eventually let it go. When we came back from the cabin, I looked for it again, only to be disappointed. I know what I saw. I've never seen a ghost or anything close, but I know I saw a gnome that day. In the 1980s, when I was about 8 years old, I was lying in bed trying to fall asleep when I heard one of my closets open. I had 2 closets next to each other. One of the closets held all my toys, while the other one had my clothes. When I sat up and looked, I saw a little gnome, tall hat and everything, walking from one closet to the other one. I screamed as loud as I could. My parents came running. I told them what I saw, and my mom just said, "I knew I shouldn't have let you watch those horror movies." But watching horror movies wasn't new for me, and besides, what horror movies even have gnomes? What stuck with me is that the gnome didn't even look at me when I screamed. It just kept walking that short path like I wasn't even there. After that, gnomes scared me for life. I was embarrassed too. I didn't know what it meant. And in my family, I wasn't supposed to believe in ghosts. But this was no ghost. This was something else. I never liked gnomes after that, and refused to go into anyone's house if they had those stupid yard statues. When I was a kid, we would get together with my cousins a few times a year. They would either come stay with us for a few days, or we would stay at their house. My oldest cousin is a year older than me, and my other cousin is a year younger. My gnome story took place at their house. Can't remember exactly how old I was at the time, but I was somewhere between 4 and 6. Me and my older cousin were sleeping in her room when I was awakened by whispering. She had a nightlight next to her dollhouse, so I could see a little bit in her room. When I looked around to see where the whispering was coming from, I saw what looked like gnomes. I was absolutely terrified. I woke up my cousin to tell her. She told me to just ignore them and not even look at them. Then she went back to sleep. I was scared out of my mind. I hid under the blanket until the sun came up. I asked her about them again the next day. She told me that she only sees them once in a while, but my other cousin frequently saw them. Weirdly, I don't think we ever really talked about them again, but I definitely remember after that being afraid of their house at night. I absolutely would not use the bathroom during the night there because I was so afraid of seeing those gnomes again. Believe me or not, but I definitely know what I saw. It was the summer of 1997 in the Midwest. I was driving on a single-lane state highway around 10 p.m. I was heading home to make curfew. I lived only a few miles from where this happened, and I knew that stretch of road really well. There was forest on both sides, and after a small hill, the road leveled out. As soon as I crested the hill and my headlights hit the flat stretch ahead, I saw 3 small bipedal creatures run out of the woods toward the road. They moved upright on 2 legs and were maybe 1 to 2 feet tall. Right in the middle of the road, they started running in a playful circle, almost like they were doing Ring Around the Rosie. They looped around twice and then darted into the woods on the other side. The whole encounter lasted maybe 6 seconds. I tried to rationalize it afterward, thinking maybe they were raccoons or possums. But I'd lived in that area my whole life, spent plenty of time in the woods, and seen tons of wildlife. Nothing I knew moved like that or looked like that. I never figured out what I saw. Everyone I ever told just laughed at me.